Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading an Arlecchino Listener by me. So let's get into it. The promise, or rather the deal he had made, was simple. Arlecchino had lost her trust. And she had told you she'd earn it back. She'd earn you back. And you weren't sure you believed her then. Had wanted to. Desperately. But right now, you weren't even sure this would be real. Standing in the cold shadows of the alley, watching the faint flicker of lanterns reflect off the rain-slicked streets of Fontaine. But Arlecchino was never one to break a promise. And now, she was proving it in the worst way possible. By putting her life on the line for you. Being with her so publicly had done you no favors. It meant many people were aware of your relationship, and many of them hated Arlecchino. And some of those people decided to lunge at the chance to do something to you to hurt her, especially now that they'd heard of your parting. And now you found yourself surrounded, weapons drawn, and the so-called Fatui informant that you'd worked with a couple days ago was smirking as they revealed their true intentions. I knew you'd come alone. That's why this is so easy. They had underestimated you. But they hadn't underestimated her. Because before you could even think of fighting back, before you could even react, the room was painted red. And Arlecchino stood between you and them, her blade glinting under the flickering lamplight, her expression carved from stone. You think I would let you take what's mine? How utterly foolish. Your breath caught in your throat as you looked at her. Arlecchino, you... A hand shot out, gripping your wrist, firm and steady. Stay behind me. There was no hesitation in her voice, no doubt. And she was commanding. It was the same certainty she had spoken with when she looked at you those nights ago, making that foolish, desperate promise. But this wasn't what you meant. You hadn't wanted this. You wanted time, a chance to breathe, a chance to figure out what you meant to each other outside of the weight of expectations, of debts and promises, of duty and obedience. And yet, she had always been like this. Always willing to throw herself into the fire first, to bleed first, to take every wound before it could be inflicted on you. Even when it wasn't hers to take. Even when it should have never been hers. Arlecchino, stop! You tried again, but she wasn't listening. She had already moved. Fast, efficient, lethal. Blades clashed, sparks flying in the dim light. The air smelled of iron and smoke, of rain seeping through cracked windows, of something dark curling at the edges of the room. And you could only watch as she took on every single hit meant for you, every strike, every wound. She didn't dodge. She didn't even try. Like she wanted them to land. Like she was proving something. Like she was saying, this is how much I love you. And the realization sent something cold down your spine. You called out her name in utter horror. And then the fight ended before you could finish a sentence. The last enemy crumpled to the ground, unmoving, and Arlecchino barely wavered. Barely, but you saw it. The way her shoulders stiffened, the way she exhaled, slow and measured, the way her fingers twitched, blood dripping from them onto the floor. Not just their blood, hers, too. Your stomach twisted at the side. What the hell was that? Her head tilted slightly. those crimson eyes flicking towards you. What do you mean? He stepped forward, fury and something dangerously close to fear bubbling in your chest. Don't play dumb, Arlecchino. You let them hit you. You let them. A pause. Then her lips curled into something that almost resembled a smirk. Did I? Your hands clenched into fists. Yes, you did. Another pause. Then softer, quieter. I wanted you to see. Your breath hitched at that. And she finally turned to fully face you. The smirk gone now, replaced by something raw, something real. I wanted you to see how far I'd go, what I'd do for you. She murmured, and your throat tightened. And you think I want that? I don't know, but I needed to show you. She admitted, and you shook your head, stepping closer, your hands reaching out, hesitating, before finally gripping the lapels of her coat. You stupid, reckless moron. She caught your wrists before you could shake her. Her grip firm, but gentle, and then, with so much love in her eyes. I love you. The words stopped you cold. Arlecchino had never been one for words. She spoke in actions, in sharp glances, in the way she lingered at your side, in the way she fought. For you, with you, because of you. But now, her voice was steady, her hands warm despite the blood. I love you, and I can't lose you. I'm not willing to. She repeated, softer now, and your chest ached. You never had to do this. You whispered, and she exhaled, closing her eyes for just a moment before opening them again, meeting yours head on. But would you have believed me otherwise? You hated that you hesitated. Hated that deep down, some part of you had needed proof. But not like this. Never in this way. You swallowed hard. I don't want you to prove anything. Her fingers curled around your hands. Then what do you want? You didn't answer. You just stepped closer. So close you could feel her unsteady breath against your skin, and pressed your forehead against hers. Her breath hitched, and your voice was barely a whisper. Just you. Her grip tightened, like she was afraid to let go. Then you'll have me. You already do. Always. You exhaled slowly, your fingers brushing over the fresh wounds on her arms, her chest. You're bleeding, you muttered, and she huffed out a small breathless laugh. Wouldn't be the first time. Don't worry about it. I'll heal, she said, and he knew about the healing properties her body had, but even then, you had this urge to take her somewhere and bandage her up, to hold her, to make sure that she's safe, even though she is the most dangerous person you've ever known. You shot her a glare, but there was no real hate behind it. You're impossible. I know, but that's why you're here. We can be utterly infuriating together, she said, tilting her head, the teasing smirk that you left creeping back. You rolled your eyes, but didn't pull away. Not this time. Not anymore. She had won you back, and damn her, because she knew it.